Hello, everybody. It's me, Gregory, the Dragon King, and welcome to the Dragon's Den. And I appreciate you all being here. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. Tell everybody about it. Um, so I appreciate, again, you all being here. We know right now in our society, there's a lot of conversation. There's a lot of debate. There's a lot of backlash. Some of it is unfortunately removing people from our society due to hate and all of that. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's important that we all know what's going on all the time, just like those who do not support, those who do not respect, those who do not understand or believe that people like myself, who's a part of the LGBTQIA plus community, should be here. It is up to people, me and everybody else in our community. When we hear something, see something, we need to call it out. You should be calling it out regardless, because we all have a purpose here. Unfortunately, for some it's horrible, others it's good, but we all have a purpose. But for those in the community, LGBTQIA plus community, when we hear things, see things, we've got to call it out. That's so we can all be educated and aware of what's going on. And that particular sentiment brings me to my the story that I'm doing today. It's about something. It's about conversation, but it's about also knowing who you're talking to. It's about also doing your homework. It's about being prepared, whether it be in life, whether you're traveling, whether it's going to talk to somebody. And as somebody who's in the LGBTQIA plus community, we have to always be prepared, but be well researched in our homework on who we deal with in society, because unfortunately that's what it's come to. We should be able to carry on just like anybody else, but unfortunately that is not the case. So that brings me to this Jonathan Van Ness and Dax Shepard podcast interview that took place, I'm going to say last week, because today is the 28th, 2023. This would have happened sometime last week. I'm not exactly sure when. But according to, I'm going to give you some background on Mr. Dax Shepard, and then I'm going to continue on with the information that I have about the actual podcast interview Mr. Dax Shepard did with Jonathan Van Ness, who is Jonathan Van Ness. We know him from he did the reboot for Queer Eye with the Straight Guy, and we know Dax Shepard from the comedy movies he was in, but he's also the host along with and I'll explain what that is, of his podcast. He's the husband of what is it, Kristen Bell? Is that her name? Let me hold on. Kristen Bell, Kristen with a K. So let me give you a little backstory on the situation. There were some things said while Mr. Shepard was interviewing Jonathan Van Ness. Jonathan said it felt like, he was on trial, or he was talking to someone who was basically talking down to him and just feeling like, his existence wasn't needed or some. That's what I'm getting out. This is just my opinion, but I'm going to give you a little background on Dax Shepard. Here we go. According to landmarkrecovery.com, landmarkrecovery.com, it says Dax Shepard's relapse and recovery. It says Dax Shepard is an actor, comedian, husband, and father. He is perhaps best known for his funny man antics and celebrity interview podcast, Armchair Expert. Exactly, Armchair Expert. Not a doctorate degree, nothing like that, right? Recently, though, much of the attention has shifted to Dax Shepard's relapse. The actor has always been open about his struggles with substance addictions. At the age of 18, Shepard began battling an addiction to alcohol and drugs, particularly cocaine, and other pills that lasted many years. After years of fighting his addiction, Shepard found sobriety in 2005. Still, his journey wasn't all smooth sailing, as the actor recounted during a recent episode of Armchair Expert. After suffering a traumatic motorcycle accident in 2012, Shepard was prescribed Vicodin to help alleviate his pain. Due to his history with addiction, Shepard's wife, Kristen Bell, was the only one allowed to administer the drugs. Unfortunately, a visit to his father in the hospital took a dark turn. Shepard's ailing father had a Percocet prescription. And according to Shepard, we had so little in common and so much effing friction. But the number one thing we had in common was we were both effing addicts. The two got high on Percocet, and Shepard recalled feeling happy and peaceful as they watched the lake outside the hospital window. The article goes on to say that Mr. Shepard has a high tolerance for drugs. It says he bought painkillers to augment his prescribed dosage. He admitted that he was under the influence of painkillers all day for around 8 weeks. He even had a stash of oxycodone to use whenever he was able. But things were manageable. He was parenting, taking care of the household, and successfully running interviews for Armchair Expert. Everything was fine. This article goes on to say that his co-host, by the last name Padman, had asked what he was on. The article says he lied to both her and his wife, Kristen Bell. So it goes on to say that he struggled, and in this article it says that, he knew he had to quit, but his tolerance was so high that he needed 30 milligrams of Oxycontin a day. Opioid withdrawal could put his life in grave danger. So it says that he's on the road to recovery. Now, y'all keep all that in mind, because I'm going to read what they have in Variety about the actual podcast going viral. Okay. Now, according to Variety, says here, Jonathan Van Ness breaks down in tears on Dak Shepard's podcast. After tense back and forth, I'm scared of the vitriol that trans people face. In the most recent episode of Dak Shepard's podcast, Armchair Expert, Jonathan Van Ness broke down in tears while defending the rights of transgender kids. Shepard and Van Ness engaged in lighthearted conversation about a range of topics, before they began talking about the New York Times, when Van Ness said the publication should not be considered left-leaning. Shepard disagreed and responded with, "It absolutely is." Van Ness then said the publication shares anti-trans content. After the two went back and forth on the topic, Shepard said some people are very uncomfortable about teenagers transitioning. They're challenging that. How do we know that that person's not going to change their mind? Nobody knows it. Nobody knows what's going on in the future. But if you are not the parent of the child, this is me talking, and I'm going to do my summation, but I had to say something here. If you are not the parent of a transgender person, or a boy or girl, you have no say-so in that. You have no say-so in that. You have no say-so in that. That is not your child. That is not how you raise your child. What conversation do you have in regards to somebody else's family, somebody else's child, having those discussions with them and deciding that that's what they want? Now, to be quite honest, I do agree that, and this is me talking, that at that age, you're not quite sure. 17, 18 years old, they still may not be. But if you and your wife or your husband or whatever it is, if that is not your child, you do not have the right to assume that that child is going to change their mind, because you do not know that. You don't know it. I don't know it. Nobody knows it. So that's it. From that part, I had to get out. After the two went back and forth, Shepard said some people are very uncomfortable. Like I said, the children may change their mind. To even question it makes you an enemy. That's an absolute lie. I'm talking, like I said, I don't agree with a child being able to make that decision. But where I agree is if those parents decide after a multitude of conversation, consequences, pros and cons, that's what is going to happen, that's what's going to happen. But again, Like I'm saying, if that is not your child, if you are not the parent or parents of the child, considering that, it's problematic that you want to have that much control, i.e. Governor DeSantis and a few others, of what's going on in somebody else's house. To even question it makes you need. I don't think that's the way forward. Shepard continued before prompting Van Ness to offer rebuttal. Van Ness said, I feel like they were talking to their dad. They then went on to discuss how transgender athletes do not have competitive advantage that some like J.K. Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter series, who Van Ness mentions, claim they do. Shepard responded by asking whether the inclusion of transgender athletes is safe or fair for cis women in sports. The two then discussed the topic for 20 minutes. Van Ness said that as a non-binary person, it is disappointing when people claim to be fighting for women while excluding trans children from playing sports. I'm not calling you a transphobe. This is Van Ness speaking. You cannot be transphobic and still have thoughts that expose trans misogyny and expose transphobic ideologies or beliefs and not be transphobic, Van Ness said. Van Ness said they were hoping to come to Shepard's show to chat about their podcast, to which Shepard responded that he did not intend to start a debate and then praised Van Ness for being an activist. First of all, he knew exactly what he was doing. He knew that it was a button topic. He knew that it was imperative that he have this conversation. I've never watched Dax Shepard's show, The Armchair Expert, which is an oxymoron in itself. You're an armchair expert. You know what I'm saying? You should say an armchair opinion expert or opinion expert. Not, you know what I'm saying? Because you have no background, no science in it, no scientific, data work that you've done yourself. You just believe a certain belief that from birth or what you've been, taught by your father or whoever it is, right? So, it says, Van Ness said they were hoping to come on Shepard's show to chat about their podcast, to which Shepard responded that he did not intend to start a debate. As they started to break down in tears, they, as in Van Ness said they could just cry because of how exhausted they are from having to fight for little kids who just wanted to be included. Okay? I wish that people were passionate about little kids able to be included or grow up as they were about fictitious women's fairness and sports. I have to tell you, I am very tired, Van Ness said to Shepard, who apologized again. My thing is this: you don't have to apologize if you know you haven't done anything wrong. There are two types of people. There are two types of people who apologize in this world. Somebody who believe and know for a fact they've hurt somebody, and the other group is people who don't agree with the apology, but they're going to say it anyway to get out of the conversation. Period. That's it. There's no in between. I wish that people were passionate about it, as he says, right? So Shepard apologizes. Van Ness went on to say, you can have racist beliefs and not know you're racist. Absolutely. Just like you can have transphobic beliefs and not realize you have transphobic beliefs. That doesn't mean you're a bad person. I agree with that too. But what it does mean is if you don't check those beliefs and you don't check them after a time, you are going to eventually become what your beliefs are, in regards to what he just said. Shepard told Van Ness he was sure they were disappointing him, but Van Ness said he was not disappointed, just emotionally exhausted, adding that they still struggle with their gender expression. Van Ness said, I'm scared of the vitriol that trans people face every day. So he goes on to talk about, Van Ness goes on his Twitter to talk about a lot of facts. He says that 5.6 million people are intersex in the United States. And I believe that because some people are just like, he's a non-binary person. He is male, is not male or female, it's just that's just what he believes he is. That's it, right? So, but here's the thing. Now, this is my summation of this, right? I don't necessarily understand why it happens over and over and over again with the LGBTQIA plus community not doing their homework. Okay? I don't understand why they're not doing their homework about who they're talking to, the things that they are saying to be accurate, precise, and more importantly, what is what is the environment, okay, in which this conversation is going to be had. Those things are important because I would never have went on a show with somebody who is a recovering drug addict, okay, who is a recovering addict. This has been confirmed. This is not alleged. Dax Shepard has admitted to this. You too, while you're searching, none of this is alleged, okay. Now, Dax Shepard, it says that he used to be he's a recovering drug addict. Oxycodone, Vicodin, he mentioned some other stuff in some other articles that I've read. What I will never understand, right? What I will never understand is people, like I mentioned, people go through things all the time. People have issues of, whether, like I said in the beginning of this video, it's a tragedy, loss of a loved one, you're going through some trauma, you use the conduit of drugs to get to the other side or make you feel better so you can be expressed, you can be driven out from your pain. But the problem with that is you end up, the pain follows you to the other side. It's, you get high, you're still dealing with the pain, you're still dealing with the addiction. You know what I'm saying? So you may get on the train to what you think is going to make you feel better, but when it stops, everything else, that baggage is still with you. So having said that, so that's the upside, you know what I'm saying, to not getting proper drug recovery. You know what I'm saying, that's the upside, the downside to not getting proper recovery. Another part of that downside is people who are recovering from drugs, they now become these gurus of wisdom. They become these philosophers of truth. They become this, some of you will get this reference. They become the Yoda of life. They become the Obi-Wan Kenobi. You know what I'm saying? Most of them, and I see Dax Shepard in this particular case as Darth Vader. You know what I'm saying? And the evil emperor. You know what I'm saying? Senator Palpatine. You know what I'm saying? Who is now, the evil emperor. That's what I'm seeing here. So he may have apologized, but again, I already told you why he apologized. Because you know what I'm saying? Most people don't apologize because they don't believe most people apologize because either they truly believe they've done something wrong. And those that the other people that apologize, they believe that they haven't done anything wrong, but they want to escape the situation. And that's the fastest way out. So to me, while drug addiction and recovery is important, it's also important for you on your way to recovery not to come down that hill and start judging everybody else because you've lived life so much. People have gone through things. Most people may not have used drugs to get to the other side or to drive them away from their troubles, but they have gone through things. You'd be surprised, right? Having said that, I think that this, as gay people, as a gay person, as an LGBTQIA plus member, I think we have got to start doing our homework. I talked about Lil Boosie and how supposedly the LGBTQIA plus community had given him $250,000, $250,000 to appear at a gay function, knowing his history and his hate and his vitriol for the community. But yet, what were we hoping? That somebody was going to bridge the gap? That money was going to silence him? It would probably silence him all of 3 months. And then he would have been back to saying, Lil Boozy said he didn't accept the money because he didn't believe in that. Well, they should have knew that before they offered it to him. And if y'all want to check out my thoughts on that, go see the previous video titled LGBTQ versus Lil Boozy, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. And but with this, it's the same thing. When are we, as the LGBTQIA plus community, when are we gonna do our homework on these podcasts, these interviews, these people that we talking to? When are we gonna do our homework? The same amount of work that I'm sure Dak Shepard and his team did on Van Ness before they offered him this opportunity to get interviewed, he should have did his homework on Dak Shepard and his partner, at the Armchair Expert podcast, because I definitely would have did it. You got to do your homework on people. That's how you prepare yourself. It's almost like, and YouTube, hopefully, it is preparing yourself for battle. You have to know your enemy. You know what I'm saying? You have to know your enemy. You know what I'm saying? Was he an enemy in this case? No, but the premise still is there. You have to know who you are talking to. We live in some very hot, very critical times. The LGBTQIA plus and every member in it cannot afford to not do your homework when you're on these shows, when you're doing your rants on all of this. You have to do your homework, particularly when somebody who has garnered this holier than thou complex doing their drug recovery. It happens all the time. I'm not disrespecting Dak Shepard, for being, a drug addict, and this is what he said. This is what is out there and actual YouTube for those who are going to be running to make sure I ain't said nothing alleged. Nothing about what I've said about Dak Shepard is alleged in regards to his drug addiction, because he said it. It's everywhere on the internet. Okay? That being said, why does a drug addict acquire the wisdom that everybody else apparently don't have because they haven't done drugs and no, that's not how this works. That's the problem with that is the downside of drug addicts being recovered. They adapt this Yoda, Obi-Wan Kenobi complex. Like they got it all figured out. They know what's going on. You don't. I'm gonna tell you about your life. No. It's not happening. So I just wanted y'all to see it for what it is. And please, to all the sisters and brothers, transgender women, men, bisexual, non-binary, query, inquiring, whatever it is in our LGBTQIA plus community, do your homework. Stay prepared. You know what I'm saying? If you stay ready, you won't have to get ready. Let me repeat it one more time. If you stay ready, you won't have to get ready. Do your homework moving forward. So thank you all. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, tell the folks about this video. Get it out there. We need to always know what's going on in our community. Prepare ourselves. Expect the worst and hope for the best. And that's what it is. So I just want to make sure y'all know. And again, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. I'm Gregory. I'm the Dragon King. And thank you for coming to the Dragon's Den. I'll see you next time.